send away for a priceless gift.
How old are you? 21?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God bless you.
I can't sleep and I lay and I think the night.
Okay, let's take it.
Daddy. Oh, Daddy.
Hi, that's my boy. That's my boy. I told ya.
Oh, nice ball.
I don't want to watch this, man.
It'll come.
Really? Yeah. Well, it hasn't come yet. You think
It will.
Sometimes I fall to my knees and pray. Come, Jesus, come. Let today be the day. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna break, but I'm holding on to a hope that won't fade. Come, Jesus, come.
Well, then we got.
We've been waiting so long for the day you return to heal every hurt and right every wrong. We need you right now. Come and turn this around. Deep down I know this world isn't home. Come, Jesus, come. Come, Jesus, come. There'll be no war, and there'll be no chains when Jesus comes.
Have I now become your enemy because I tell you the truth? No, your real enemy is somebody that knows the truth, but they're afraid to tell you.
So this is probably the most important paper there is. 2016. Me and Nicole. If the same schedule does not apply to all children, fail to separate residential. But check the box that comes closest to representing the time spent with each parent. 50, 50.
In parental alienation, a child is rejecting a parent for a non-protective reason. In other words, that parent is safe, the child is protected and safe with that parent, and there was an unreasonable rejection due to an alienating influence.
If we rule out that there is no abuse and this child is not wanting to see them, we have to recognize that they're being abused by the other parent to not have a relationship with them. Because again, it's the child's right to have a relationship with them. And if that person is not supporting that and not recognizing their own role in not allowing that to happen, that's abuse. And then that child, if you notice, alienated children will defend them tooth and nail, just like you see these kids defending the people who are abusing them sexually.
It's something that's existed for many, many decades, and I think now we're reaching a point where we're starting to recognise that a child who says vehemently, I'm not going to see a parent after family separation, is a child that's waving a red flag.
It's also considered domestic violence because the intent of the behavior is to harm the other parent and the relationship with the child. And so many behaviors that alienators do aren't always involving the child. The child can be a weapon that's used against them, but they will engage in many, many behaviors just to hurt the other parent.
What is that? Can you make a nice face? Holy cow. Okay, be nice.
Psalms 35:11. False witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things I knew not.
For a child to reject a parent is not just about the dreadfulness of murdering a parent who is still alive and saying, I no longer want to have you in my consciousness. It's about the way that that child has murdered part of themselves and has then been forced to live with it. And it's only when that child comes into their young adulthood that perhaps the gravest consequences of what they've been forced to do really starts to come to light.
What's going on here is the alienating parent tends to be a master manipulator, often an accomplished liar, brilliant at managing impressions, and so on, and is the aggressor who's winning. The other parent is a trauma victim.
So rather than sort of these children blossoming, they're kind of wilting under the care of the favored parent, and it's just profoundly frustrating, and that word doesn't just really begin to capture how painful it is for the targeted parent to go through that.
Court stamped, signed 2016, Richard Anderson, Mary Anderson, the boys Elijah Anderson, Ethan Anderson. Here is the designation of custody. Father shall be designated custodian an odd number of years, and mother shall be designated custodian an even number of years.
So when you see a child who's rejecting one parent, especially strongly, and you see a child, the same child, is strongly aligned with the other parent, probably that's an alienated child, not an estranged one.
Parenting plan, page 3, major decisions. We have joint decisions on health, religious, non-emergency, and education decisions.
And we have a lot of research about how profoundly dysfunctional and unstable an alienating parent is. Let's face it, a normal parent will not try to undermine the relationship between the child and the other parent. A normal parent appreciates that the child has a need for the other parent. And when the alienating parent can't appreciate that, they lack empathy, for one thing.
So this is probably the most important paper there is, 2016. Me and Nicole. If the same schedule does not apply to all children, fail to separate residential. But check the box that comes closest to representing the time spent with each parent. 50-50.
Typically, alienated parents are what we call narcissistically vulnerable. They feel very threatened when part of their identity is being diminished within the dissolution of the marriage, so they externalize the blame and project it outward towards the targeted parent. And the children get involved in that, and they're caught in the middle.
Usually when you're dealing with alienation, it's one of 3 types, or a combination. Borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, or some type of a sociopathic personality disorder.
Targeted parents are living in an unending grief.
This is criminal behavior, absolutely criminal behavior. The alienator is assaulting the child's memory, feelings, thinking, relationship with the parent. Assault is a crime.
This is the petition for child support 2020. I'm just going to try to go over this real quick. When I married Richard Anthony Anderson, this is Nicole speaking, hereinafter referred to as Tony, October 19, 2003, he needed someone to help raise his 3 children from an ex-wife. At age 33, I was eager to become a mother, and we had our own children shortly thereafter. So the point is, she didn't say we were madly in love or she loved me, or she just pointed out that I needed someone to help raise my 3 children.
Kind of a perception that both parents must be contributing to the problem for this child to be rejecting them. You know, one parent must be doing something bad, and then the other parents, and they're both acting badly towards each other. And in my experience interviewing and talking to targeted parents and researching them, that a lot of them are really helpless. They have almost no power or control over what's happening in their lives, in their children's lives. The alienating parent really controls everything. They control access and communication to their child. Anything that that parent will say to the child is interpreted by that child as negative and hostile towards the other parent who they're trying to protect. So my experience was that it's impossible for this person to reciprocate when you actually see the dynamics in these families.
And during our marriage, I was dealing with an elusive illness that caused me to suffer from fatigue, headaches, occasional vomiting, skin rashes, intestinal bloating, constipation. Stress caused me to experience flare-up. So this was my response to each point she had stated in her petition for child support. I think it's important to show kind of what led up to her leaving with the boys. Section 12, reasons would like a mental and physical evaluation of Mary Nicole Anderson per line 9 through 15, page 2. Page 3 of her declaration, she has been suffering from what she calls a condition. She claims to have worms, but during our relationship, I and her mother and father have taken her to see approximately 8 different doctors, which all found nothing. She has bought numerous concoctions to heal her condition, from worm killer to vitamins to electronic devices. She also has stated that she will never be fully rid of the worms. Both boys have allergies, and anytime they have a sniffle, she says they have what she has, and she tends to pick at Ethan's skin.
Parents who alienate their children are not only engaging in psychological abuse, but also even physical abuse and social isolation and other types of things to harm that child and keep them away from the other parent. But it does a lot of significant damage to that child and to their relationships with others. And if you're looking for alienation and even other kinds of domestic violence, you have to look at patterns over time. Because abusive parents they use coercive control, they use ways to dominate the other person, and that you have to look deep, and you have to look at it over an extended period of time.
Elijah, do you love your daddy?
Thank you.
Do you love your daddy, Elijah?
He gave